What would you do if you were about to lose everything, right when you needed it most? Today's story is about a janitor who was facing unemployment, a new baby on the way, and a lifetime of poverty repeating itself. But what happened next will absolutely blow your mind. This is a true story. Let's dive in.
I was working as a janitor at a local community college. Now, I know what some people think when they hear janitor. They think it's not a real job, that it's somehow beneath them. But for me, it was everything. It was stability. It was a paycheck. It was hope. You see, I didn't grow up with much. My mother was on disability my entire childhood. She couldn't work. She couldn't provide the way she wanted to. And my father? Well, let's just say he wasn't exactly father of the year. He worked at Taco Bell. Not that there's anything wrong with that, except that he was a deadbeat. He didn't help. He didn't care. He was just there. We lived in a trailer park. And not the nice kind you see in movies. I'm talking about the kind where dreams go to die. Where every day is a struggle just to get by. I promised myself, even as a kid, that I would never let my own children grow up like that. I would break the cycle. I would do better. And I was trying. I really was. This janitor job at the college? It wasn't glamorous, but it was honest work. It paid the bills. It gave me purpose. Things were okay. And then, everything changed. One day, I found out that my wife was pregnant. We were having a baby girl. I should have been overjoyed. And part of me was. But another part of me was absolutely terrified. Because I knew what was coming. I knew what it meant to raise a child with barely any money. I had lived it. The fear hit me like a truck. All those memories came flooding back. The embarrassment of wearing the same clothes to school every day. The hunger. The shame of living in a trailer while everyone else had real houses. I couldn't do that to my daughter. I wouldn't. I made a promise to myself right then and there, my baby girl would have a better life than I did. No matter what it took. But then, just weeks later, the universe decided to test me. The college called a meeting. All the janitors gathered in a room, nervous, whispering. We all knew something was wrong. And then they dropped the bomb. The college was outsourcing our jobs to a cleaning company. In 1 month, we would all be unemployed. 1 month. I felt like the walls were closing in. My wife was pregnant. We had bills. We had rent. And in 30 days, I would have nothing. I sat there in that meeting, feeling like I was drowning. Like every bad thing from my childhood was coming back to haunt me. History was repeating itself. And I was powerless to stop it. I couldn't take it anymore. After the meeting, I walked straight to my boss's office. My hands were shaking. I was angry. I was scared. I was done. I pulled my keys out of my pocket. The keys to the building. The keys to the supply closets. The keys that represented my entire livelihood. And I slammed them on his desk. I'm done, I said. I quit. I'm not waiting around for a month just to be kicked to the curb. I turned to walk out. I was ready to leave everything behind. To give up. But then my boss said something that changed everything. Wait. I stopped. I didn't turn around. I just stood there, hand on the doorknob. Don't quit, he said. Ride it out. Just trust me. Ride it out for the next month. I didn't understand. What was the point? Why should I stay just to watch my job disappear? But something in his voice made me reconsider. Maybe it was desperation. Maybe it was stupidity. I don't know. But I picked up those keys, and I stayed. And that decision saved my life. Over the next few days, I couldn't stop thinking. The college was outsourcing to a cleaning company. They were hiring someone else to do the exact job I was already doing. And then it hit me. Why not me? Why couldn't I be that cleaning company? I knew this building better than anyone. I knew every corner, every classroom, every restroom. I had been doing this job perfectly for years. I knew my coworkers. I knew who was reliable, who was hardworking, who cared about quality. The idea was insane. I was a janitor. I had no business experience, no connections, no startup money. But I also had nothing to lose. So I did something crazy. I decided to start my own cleaning company. And I was going to compete for the contract to clean the very college I worked at. I spent every free moment researching. How do you start a business? What do you need? How do you write a proposal? I talked to my best coworkers. The ones I trusted. The ones who cared as much as I did. Look, I said, we are all losing our jobs. But what if we didn't? What if we worked for ourselves instead? Some thought I was crazy. But a few believed in me. And they agreed to join. Together, we formed a company. Now came the hard part. I had to convince the college to hire us instead of some big, established cleaning company. I had to write a proposal. A professional, detailed, convincing proposal. I had never written anything like this in my life. But I poured my heart into it. I stayed up late, night after night, typing away. My wife was pregnant, exhausted, and I was at the kitchen table with papers everywhere, trying to figure out how to save our future. I wrote about why we were the best choice. We already knew the building. We already had a relationship with the staff. We cared about this place because it was our workplace. I included pricing, schedules, quality guarantees, everything I could think of. When I was done, it was 40 pages long. 40 pages of hope. 40 pages of desperation. 40 pages of a janitor refusing to give up. I printed it out, put it in a folder, and hand-delivered it to the administration office. And then I waited. The waiting was torture. Every day felt like a year. I kept working, kept cleaning, but my mind was somewhere else. What if they said no? What if they laughed at me? What if I had just made a fool of myself? And then, one day, I got the call. Congratulations. You got the contract. I couldn't believe it. I had done it. Against all odds, a janitor with no business experience had just secured a cleaning contract with the college. My coworkers and I were no longer employees. We were business owners. But I didn't stop there. Once I had proven I could run a successful cleaning company, I started looking for more contracts. I reached out to local businesses. I pitched to manufacturing plants. I put myself out there even though I had no idea what I was doing half the time. And then I landed a big one. $1 million contract with a manufacturing plant. $1 million. The kid from the trailer park. The son of a deadbeat dad and a disabled mom. The janitor who almost quit. I was now running a company with $1 million contracts. It felt surreal. Like I was living someone else's life. But it was real. And I had earned every bit of it. Today, my company does $1.5 million in revenue. Let me say that again. $1.5 million. I employ the people I used to work alongside. People who believed in me when I was just a janitor with a crazy idea. And my baby girl? She's here now. She's beautiful. She's healthy. And she will never grow up the way I did. She won't live in a trailer park. She won't wonder where her next meal is coming from. She won't feel ashamed of where she lives. She can have whatever she wants. Not because I'm spoiling her. But because I broke the cycle. I refuse to let my past define my future. I refuse to let fear stop me. When I was at my lowest point, standing in my boss's office with my keys in my hand, ready to quit, I made a choice. I chose to fight. And that choice changed everything. So if you are going through something right now, if you feel like giving up, if you think your situation is hopeless, remember this story. Remember that a janitor with no experience, no money, and no connections built $1 million company. If I can do it, so can you. Never give up. Never stop fighting. Because your breakthrough might be just one decision away.
Thank you so much for watching this story. If it inspired you, please hit that like button and subscribe for more incredible true stories. What would you have done in this situation? Would you have quit or would you have fought? Let me know in the comments. Until next time, this is Mood Manor, reminding you that every mood, every moment, has a story worth telling. See you in the next one.